See, I learned a lot of things from the Andromedans. How many of you heard this song called Love Don't Die? And that's going to be how I'm going to kick this video off. See, love don't die. And what I learned from the Andromedans is that the Andromedans, they created the Pleiadians. They created the Pleiadians. So now I'm going into the descent of extraterrestrial, not just the human descent, but going into before humans or humanoids or this version that we are now. It's all about cloning. It's all about breeding, grafting to make this perfect final product. And you got different groups of extraterrestrials. You have the Anunnaki group, that's a whole other separate story. I'm kind of keeping this focused on the Anunnaki stories are more so biblical. You can read about that in the Bible. When you're reading in the Bible, you're reading about the Anunnaki stories. This is what they use religion to control. But at the end of the day, it's all about putting a species or a group of people into a controlled environment, is what it is. And the Andromedans to me are the most skilled because they use love as a means of control. And that's what makes them more skilled, because it is your nature to love. See, in your nature, this is how you know that there are different groups of extraterrestrials that exist within your own makeup. Because you have a side of you that's religious, that's like, this is moral, this is right, I should do this, I shouldn't do that. You know, these are the sides. I'm supposed to do this, I'm not supposed to do that. That's religion. So even in education, there's religion. Then you have the side of you that cares for people, and that you see a woman or or a man or whatever the case may be, and you're infatuated with them, you're attracted to them. It starts as an attracting force. Then eventually, once you become acquainted with them, you may fall or ascend, depending on your nature or your mind. You may fall or ascend in love with them. And this is how the cloning takes place. You see, what I learned from the Andromedans is they didn't teach me this part, but I learned that we should ascend in love, not fall in love. Because you have some Andromedans that want you to fall in love with them so that they can control you. They want you to fall. Why would I want to fall? I'm not a Nephilim. A Nephilim means one who fell. When you read about the Nephilim in the Bible, these are just beings that fell to this earth. You have some beings that ascended to this earth. That's right, they were in a lower state, a lower existence. So this version, I made a video a while back called the End Times and the Coming of the Sixth Son. And I've been revisiting my thoughts on that video. And what I'm realizing is that now, at this point where I'm at now, is that there really was never a beginning. And there's never going to be an end. It's a circle. So people call it the Circle 7. Life exists as a circle. You see, the circle comes from the snake. And the snake, there's some depictions of a symbol of a snake swallowing his tail. He has his mouth open and he has his tail in his mouth. This is what makes the circle. Because when you find yourself you're going to find, and when you find yourself or redefine yourself or reborn again, you have now swallowed your tail. You have now swallowed the illusion that there is an end to you. There is no end to you, and there is no beginning to you. Life exists as a circle. Yeah, the physical body may die. When I say find yourself, I'm not just speaking on a level of finding yourself in this world or in this incarnation, but finding yourself based upon your past lives. And what is the theme of your life? That's what I'm getting into now. What is the theme of the overall reason why you keep coming here or coming anywhere for that matter? What are you doing? What are you learning? And life is an experiment. This version of the matrix we're in, this is an experiment. This shift that we are in, this is an experiment. We are in an aquarium. We are here to experience, but not just experience random willy-nilly situations, but to experience things that will upgrade our mental DNA or our mindset, the higher part of ourselves. You have physical DNA, which is what you were made up of the reptilian part of you, the gray part of you, or the mammalian part of you, going to the three stages of humans. You are a mixture of reptilian, gray, and then eventually mammal, which you call human, but your body, this is what you are made up of. They're human, that's just to me, whatever. That's how I look at that. That's just a word, humanoid. But at the end of the day, nobody can answer these questions for you, so you have to come back to this form of knowledge. Because if you go to college and go spend all this money on education, you're not going to be able to find out where you came from at the end of the day. If you go to church, you're not going to be able to find out where you came from at the end of the day. If you go to church, they're going to tell you all of this started together. That's what most people think. The earth had this beginning point and everything was kind of like simultaneously created. They're not going to tell you that these are just, we exist in what's called more like mirrors. There's an old version going on the earth that the pyramids are still being built in. And how do you know the pyramids weren't built on a different planet? What do I mean by that? How do you know that this planet that we are on right now was always in this place or in this location? See, these are the things you say, well, you're just making it, this just sounds crazy, but you don't have any solution or you don't have the answer to these same questions. If I pose these thoughts as questions, you wouldn't be able to answer them at the end of the day. You wouldn't be able to do it. And if you were able to answer them, it would be based upon what you were programmed to believe. See, the thoughts that I'm sharing are based upon my experience of what I experienced. And I know that sun that we are looking at may not have always been the sun. Even so much so that I don't believe the sun that we looked at in 2012 is the same sun that's here now. And that's the reason why I say that we are in a new energy. We are in a new phase. That's what I'm getting at. We have went to a new level of the shift, a new state, where the ideas in the old world do not work anymore. They do not work anymore. If you try to do stuff that you did in the old world, they do not work that way anymore. You will not be able to fulfill your life's mission and path doing things the way that you've done them 10 years ago. Those people that were adults, say for instance 10 years ago. There are some people, you guys are young, like some people that are teenagers and stuff like that watching these videos. You guys are young, so you don't really know, fully understand what I'm saying, probably, because you kind of came up in this new era. And that's important, that's good, because you are a fresh mind. But the people that are having problems are the old heads, or those old in mind, and it doesn't matter about your age. Like I said, if you were just an adult, you may have been in your early 20s back in 2006, 2007, now you're in your 30s, and you just can't seem to, things aren't the same. It's because it's not supposed to be the same. We are in a new energy. We are in a new version of an experiment. We have been reborn again. We have been cloned. See, cloning is not just physical. There's a mental version of cloning that is more important. Life here, the way it is reproduced, is through cloning. Sex is secondary. Physical sex between man and woman is secondary. Cloning is primary. That's the prime beef right there. That's prime time. Mental cloning is what I'm speaking of. Love. They mental clone through various different schools. The school of love and the school of education. The most important schools that they clone through. They clone through knowledge and they clone through love. To me, love is more effective because of the fact that it is your natural human nature, your human inclination to care for something. You may care for your dog. You may care for your child. Love is something that we experience on many different levels. You love your parent. And this is how they clone you, but then it can be used to control you. So you have to learn how to not fall in love or to digress because of love, but to ascend in love. So this is what I mean by when I told the Andromedans, I can't be your man. We can always work together as long as we ascend it. And people may have a problem with me saying, well, you talking about you playing both sides on the last video. The Andromedans taught me that because remember I said the Andromedans represent the media. And if you notice that the media plays both sides, even in politics. One minute they talking about that guy, whatever, that's running for president or whatever, and then they may be talking about the current president. And they may be saying positive stuff about the current president at one time, and then they're saying negative stuff the next time you watch it. They may be saying positive stuff about that woman that's running for president. I'm not using names because people's names are copyrighted, so I'm not trying to mess around with people's names, but you guys know what I'm talking about. When I say that woman, or that man, I'm not trying to be offensive or negative. I'm just using these as loose terms because I don't want to use their names. But the media does this all the time, and they're controlled by the Andromedans. The media is controlled by the Andromedans. The religions are controlled by the reptilians or the Anunnaki. Same thing. The Anunnaki, more so, those stories go into the stories of the reptilians. You see, religion is controlled by that. And economics, a very important topic that I do want to kind of address on this video, and that would be kind of like the third way that they clone you. They can clone you through economic strategies, and economics is controlled by a certain order that is composed of various different beings, and this order is a Luciferian based order. When I say Luciferian, it doesn't mean it's evil, it doesn't mean any of that. So you got to remember, when you're in my realm, I'm past putting bad and good on it. Just in case you know you may want to travel that path, that's why I leave it open for you. It's nothing like an open mind. A free mind can become lost, but an open mind takes in information and decides how to use it and make it useful for his or herself and for his or her kind or species, whatever the case may be. But the economic order that people talk about, the Bilderbergers and the Billionaire Boys Club and all the Girls Club and all of that, the Bad Girls Club and and all of that, Oprah Circle, which is essentially dealing with rich women and men too. But all of that is, you could be any being to be in those economic circles. And this is another way that we clone or we make society. This is how society is made. This is how things are done. So we are in a new energy. The things that worked before are not going to work. Just like you're going to see really soon that currency is not going to work the same anymore. When I was a part of these experiments, they taught me about something called dark currency. Dark currency is going to control the world. Dark currency has the ability to make stocks go up or down. Dark currency. It has the ability to make bonds go up and down. It has the ability to make commodities go up and down. See, at first, when I first started doing videos, I always thought that, like a lot of these birthers and different people teach, that we got to go back to the gold standard and all of that. Some people going to go back to the gold standard, but gold is still going to be controlled because we're going into a different type of currency, a different means of exchange. The gold standard and all of that, that's Anunnaki-based currency and economics. Going back to the gold, we've already been on the gold standard. Why would we go back? That's descent, that's falling in love. We are to ascend in love. That's what I learned or whatever. So we're going into something called dark currency that I'm not going to really address here. But I'm just throwing out ideas right now in this video to let you guys kind of know where I'm at and what I'm going to be speaking on. And I have to do this or whatever so that you'll know. But in the future, but this is the last of this series of videos that I'm going to do. But this is the type of stuff that I'm on or whatever. So there is no side. This is the main point I want to drive in. There is no good and evil. You want to quarantine me, but the reason why I feel like my role is very significant is because of the fact that I'm bringing balance to the Pan-African or the birther or the person in the Tea Party that may be considered radical, or the Mormon, or whatever the case may be, and the mainstream regular person that just likes to go and read magazines and watch the news and read Newsweek and go out to see the latest movie, the so-called secular person. I'm bringing balance between the religious person that may just feel like getting with one woman, being married, having a home. Nothing wrong with that. It's just living a normal life is okay, and that's the right thing to do versus the person that feels like they should be involved in a group marriage. There are people out here like that now, y'all. There are people, I've met them. There are people out here that are living in group marriages now. Why do you think they got shows like Wife Swap and stuff like that? What is that telling you? That's showing you that the world is changing, where a wife can be with a family one moment and then go and be with this family the next and be the wife to this family. She has to learn how to assert herself into this family and to shape this new family into what she had in the old family, or to at least bring balance to her own energy in this new family, and to balance this new family's energy with her energy. This is what wife swap is about. This is group relationships. This is, you may call it polygamy. That's what they call it in the Bible. More man having more than one wife and all of that.